Thank you, thank you, thank you. And the beautiful thing about the song You Touch the Joy is that it recognizes that the joy is inherent to each of us. And in the consciousness and the spirit of oneness, what that tells me is that there's something joyful. Let me get this up at all times. And it can be touched. It can be felt. It has a palpable nature to it that allows it to be responsive to stimuli. Now, I almost said outside stimuli, but because we are all on the path of unity and oneness, we know again and again and again with every breath that their inside and the outside are two sides of the same coin, and you can't have one without the other. And so if it's being touched by an outside stimuli, it means the outside stimuli is, what is that, the projection from the inside coming back like the cosmic echo. And so we're literally touching ourselves in every experience, in every life. We're stroking ourselves. We're like, I really, really like me. I really, really like me. I'm really, really loving me. So just give yourself a nice hug right now. So, oh, I really, really love me. Okay, I don't believe that for a second. I really don't. Well, I'm taking your word for it if it's true, because see, I love me some me. Can you say I love me some me? Okay, now see that I believed, okay. See, they didn't get into the actual touch part. You know, I can't be doing that, but I do love me some me, yes? Am I the stuff? Okay. Man, I love what Reggie Jackson said. I'm the straw that stirs the drink. It ain't stirred if I don't show up. I'm always the life of the party because the party's always in my honor, because everything in the universe is here to serve me, because I'm one with the universe and I serve it. It's a reciprocal universe, you see. When we say that everything in the universe is here to serve us, we can only say that with certainty if we are serving the universe. See, it's just wordplay. It's theory. It's an idea. It has no power, no potency, and not even any purpose. You know, words we regurgitate in words. We see we hurt somebody who's standing up in front of people. We don't know if he's wise. We don't know if he's smart. We don't know what he's talking about. We had everybody say, there's only one of us here. I wrestled with that for 15 to 20 years of my studies, maybe longer. It's like, that is the one thing. It's like, okay, I get everything with this. There's only one of us here. That's so powerful. What the heck? But unity is one. You see, no matter how many ways it differentiates or distinguishes itself as a distinction or I would say ideation, if you will, an individualization of itself, it still shows up as the one. It's like I have many different voices from which I can speak, but they're all my voice. You know, I can whisper very quietly. I can whisper very intimately. I can whisper in a threatening manner so that everybody gets without me raising my voice. This is the wrong move for you, but it's still my voice. Yes, there's only one voice coming out of me. It's my voice. It has many pitches, many tempos, many different ways it can show up, but that's my voice. I can walk a lot of different ways, but it's still my walk. I was listening to one of the young men. I'm staying in the house, you know, with Marnie and Steve, and one of the sons was saying that his dad he's actually older than me, and that's just old. I can't, I have to accept that old is a good thing because I can't deny that I'm old anymore. So I'm having to change my consciousness about what that means. Because I'm almost 70, you can't deny that's where you are, okay? Up until now, I could pretend that it wasn't so. But everybody has a different idea what that means. And the son said, but Dad, you don't walk like an old man. You know, you don't carry yourself in that way. Same age. Some people much less are having a difficult experience. I'm trying to express different ways to look at this idea of oneness, because oneness simply means there's one power, one energy, one substance, one source, one identity, one signature, one frequency. And that thing we call the universe, God, infinite intelligence, absolute mind, Gaia, Mother Nature, however you choose to approach it, it's still the same thing. It's Shango, it's Allah, it's Jehovah, it's Jesus the Christ, it's Jesus Christ, which is different from I grew up with Jesus the Christ, but these days it's Jesus Christ, like that's his last name. Okay, however you choose to walk to this thing or approach this thing, there's only one thing. And when we get that there's only one thing, that means there can only be one of us. Because see, oh man, this is really, I'm having fun with this. Sometimes. Because us is plural. Okay? So there's only one us. Now we can get that, right? It's like if someone was to invade the planet Earth, we would all be united, no matter what our differences are. Okay, now there would always be those who try to collude with the quote unquote, but there's still only one of us. One Earth, this is us. One universe, this is us. Everything you see is part of what? Us. The entire planet is what? Us. And when you get that, when we get that, as we understand there's only one us, then we can also go to the place where the human being is not a singularity. We exist because we're in relationship with everything else. It's not survival of the fittest. It's survival of the most cooperative. That's how we manage to survive. There's one us, and I'm part of the us. So when we say there's only one of us here, that means there's only one of us here. And I'm one in the us. Are you with me on this? This means I come with people. I'm never alone. This is why they say one with God is always a majority. I'm never by myself. I might look like, and sometimes I feel like I'm by myself. Sometimes, so I have a lot of fun with that. Oh, they call it old Negro spiritual. I don't know why it's as an old Negro spiritual. I guess we must have some new ones. But sometimes I just hear, nobody knows the trouble I've seen, like nobody's had it as bad as me. Or if they did, they didn't have this particular trouble. Get over that. Whatever you're going through, somebody's already been through it. However bad it's been, somebody's had it just as bad. There's people who are going to have it worse, okay? It's always going to be another example of life on whatever plane of existence that we choose to express ourselves. And because we have this thing, people like to call confirmation bias. But I'm reminded of this thing, see if I can get this right, called mirror neurons in the mind. Isn't that right, Dr. Jeff? And how to say, what are mirror neurons again? Just make sure I have this right.
Mirror neurons are the neurons that tend to reflect what we experience outside ourselves, so we can empathize or know what the other is experiencing.
Oh, that's said way better than I could have said it. But you see, there's only one of us here. And the one of us here wanted to hear the best example possible. So the one of us here said, well, who has the greatest mouthpiece for this? Dr. Jeff. There's something inside of us that wants to mimic what we see on the outside. But when we consider that the inside and the outside are the same thing, see, the psychologists who created the term mirror neurons are caught up in the sequence of cause and effect. But consciousness is not limited to sequence. As a matter of fact, consciousness has no sequence. Can we say that?
Consciousness has no sequence.
Can we say it again?
Consciousness has no sequence.
Who's starting to feel good with that, right? Anybody starting to feel it's starting to make gravy right now, right? Say, wait a second, I think we got a good bouillabaisse going right here. Consciousness has no sequence. So the mirror neurons are not responding. They're acting up. Piranjali's mom, I love her. She passed away so many years ago. And she had this beautiful expression. I remember she was very unhappy with Piranjali. Very, very unhappy. Okay, this is the way I remember this story, okay? She told me it wasn't her. It was her sister. Okay. I'm not maligning her. Okay, I understand it's her mom. Okay, people are defensive about that. That's natural. Her mother had dementia. Okay, I think the story is beautiful regardless. Okay, because Piranjali she was upset with Piranjali. And when Piranjali said, well, what are you upset about? Just tell me what it is, because she knew she hadn't done anything. She said, why are you so upset? And she thought about it long and hard. And she said, you're just acting up. Now, yes, it was due to dementia, but just acting up is a real thing. Because acting up is, I don't know what you're doing. I don't know how you're doing. I don't know what it is, but I'm not happy right now. Something in the universe, something in the world is acting up in my life. And there's a general dissatisfaction because it's not acting out the way I wanted to. It's acting up in ways I don't want it to, which simply means my relationship with the universe is not in congruence with the reality that I'm having in my mind, dementia or not. You don't have to be in that state. This is happening to everybody. Anybody have some times when life is just acting up? You know what I'm talking about, yeah? You're like, what the hell? That's why they came up with the term, when it rains, it pours. You're like, what the heck? And when one thing goes wrong, if it ain't one thing, it's another. Because life has a tendency, here's the thing about it. What was it that Emma Curtis Hopkins? Life will persist in presenting to us what we persist and believe in the world to be. We can't have it otherwise. Everything we see is reflection of what we already think and believe. The mirror neurons could be the thing that's projecting it out there in the first place, but because we don't see it coming out of us, we can only measure it on the back. Well, it's there and that's out there. Well, that must have happened first, you see, because we have this idea that life is happening out there. But there's no such places out there in the unity. There's no in or out in unity. They say in space, there's no up or down. And yet here we keep seeing the planet in the same position. Well, this is the top of the planet and this is the bottom of the planet. And this is the way it looked. No, there's no up or down. It's just space, just oneness. There's only one of us here. And I'm an us. I'm one with that. We're talking about the hero's journey. It's an interesting thing, Joseph Campbell. And there are many more people who could expound on this with more expertise than I. But the idea that an archetype, a mono, how do they call it? Let me get to mine. I want to make sure I get this right, because it was a new word for me. A monomyth. Holmes' idealist version as we examine the great monomyth known as the hero's journey. It has an affirmation that begins, and I want us to all get this affirmation today. You leave here, if you don't get anything else, you can leave here with this. Matter of fact, this is the sum total of everything I'm going to say. We could just pass the plate and go home, let John play some music for us, and call it a day. I am the hero on my journey.
I'm the hero on my journey.
I am the hero of my journey.
I'm the hero of my journey.
And if you like the term shiro, that is also acceptable. What does that mean? Who can tell me what that means? I pick Eileen. Eileen, you looked at me with, I wasn't gonna. I was panning the audience and boom, you locked. Okay, thank you. Telling you resonated with her. She said, I have full control of my life. No one else decides but me. Full control of my life. I used to have bad nightmares. Every night I dreamed somebody was trying to kill me. I'd run for my life all night long, wake up drenched in sweat. Terrified. One time I woke up and the guy was like standing right at the foot of my bed with a gun. I'm screaming. I remember I asked my sister, didn't you hear me downstairs screaming? She said, yes, I did. But I figured if it got you, you're better than me. Ain't no use in me running down there getting got too. So you could have called 911 or something, my mother's a witch. I don't mind saying that. We've been saying that about her my whole life. Reverend E, God bless her, found out she'll be going to Ghana for Thanksgiving, and I'm prepared for it this time. So I've done my grief about it. I'm very, very happy, for I realize she may not come back, and I'm content. I'm grounded with it. I recognize this is the natural order of things. But I'm explaining to her what's happening. She said, boy, what are you screaming about? What the heck was that about? I said, this person, I keep every night, I keep getting chased. She said, well, and I'm number again. This is the one who told me, you are the master of your dreams. I didn't know that up until then. Now, my little sister, Alake, she used to tell me you can change the channel of your dreams. I didn't know that either. She told me you can just change the channel more. You can just change the channel. But this guy was on all the channels. She said, boy, you're going to have to turn and fight. It's your dream. Everything in the dream is about you. No one is stronger in your dream than you. I didn't know that. You see, that's why I was running, because I didn't know I was the strongest. That's what's wrong with all of us. We don't know that we're the strongest. We're the strongest because we're the only ones here. There's no opposition. She said, boy, you're going to have to fight. That's the only way this is going to be over. I said, see, next time before you go to bed, you tell yourself you're going to fight. Okay. Okay, mama. I'm a mama's boy. Okay, mama. I told myself I was going to fight that next time. Sure enough, somebody's chasing me. Interesting enough, this time I'm beginning to recognize the face. Okay. And it's chasing me through the projects. And you know how all these buildings look the same. I keep trying to turn the corner. There's an old dude chasing me. How is he keeping up with me? Because I'm every character in the dream. I can't outrun myself. Teddy Pendergrass said, you can't hide from yourself. Everywhere you go, there you are. Now, something happened in this dream that never happened before. Because see, I programmed myself. I'm running. I'm trying to get away. And finally, my pursuer called out to me and said, you might as well turn and face me. You know you can't run from me forever. Well, that made sense. Much as I didn't like it, it made sense. So I began to plan my strategy. I was running by a dumpster, and I allowed him to catch if there was a bottle in the dumpster. And I grabbed the bottle. I turned around. Whack, I hit him in the head. It's like there was like endless bottles in this dumpster for some reason. Okay. Now the dream ends with me just pow, hitting him in the head. Pow, hitting him in the head. Pow, hitting him in the head. But people, I want you to know the only reason that happened is because I told a different story before I went to sleep. I had a story of empowerment and not victimization. Even though I was running from my empowerment, my tormentor, my pursuer understood the story better than me. You might as well turn and face me. Yes, that's the way the dream ended. I ain't gonna tell you no lie. I couldn't wait to go to sleep the next night. Oh, Sookie, now I got you. Now I'm not scared of you, see? I'm not running from you next time. Next time I see that dude, I'm coming after him and I'm gonna give it to him. I was very disappointed. Never had the dream again. Never had the dream again. Because I conquered that fear. I crossed that bridge. I entered that forbidden zone. I experienced that bliss of victory on that level. Are you with me so far? This is what the hero's journey is about. We start out in an innocent state, idealized state, but there's a quest, there's a desire for adventure or a call to adventure, and oftentimes a reluctance to engage at that particular level. This is why I'm running. I'm not trying to, and this looks too big. Many of us have a vision that's too big for us to see. I couldn't see me doing this. I couldn't see me doing this when I started this philosophy. I'm getting in touch with me doing it now because I'm doing it at a different level than I've done it before. Our understanding increases, but we have to remember what Margaret Mead says. I know you thought I forgot. What's Margaret say? She says, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful and committed citizens can make a difference in the world. That's all it ever has. And a citizen is a member. Okay, I'm gonna let Pierangeli say it again, Pierangeli, because she gets this very, like I said, there's only one of us here. That thing about citizen that you always say to me that I always forget, that we're gonna get straight right here and right now, because I'm not embarrassed to let you be the one to bring it in.
origin of the word citizen is
Yes.
to dwell within the city. And I'm saying, if we're like thinking of that in a metaphysical sense, we are all dwelling within. And the city also has a root with citadel, which is a structure of power, right? And protection. We are all dwelling within. We dwell within this community, the San Francisco Center. And ultimately, we are citizens of spirit. We dwell within the body of God. So that's my
What she said.
way. Citizen. So
What she said. Okay. So we all indwell the body because there's only one of us here. I am the only us there is. Each of us is the only us there is. There's no opposition. But sometimes the vision's too big and we run from it because it's too big. We can't see it. We don't want to go there. It's too dangerous. We don't go. I'm not big enough. I'm not strong enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not beautiful enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough. I'm not enough is a disease. It infects. I like to call it not enough-itis. Inflammation of the not enough. But we have this thing that says, I'm unworthy. When Moses got the message from the burning bush, he told God, I can't do this. I can't go do that. I have a speech impediment. How am I going to go tell Pharaoh, let my people go? How am I going to talk to the authority with a speech impediment? Okay, if you think you need help, take your brother Aaron with you. I told you, but you don't think you can take your brother with you. I can see Aaron, why do I have to go? You didn't give me the message. Now I got to go down there and do all this stuff because he's insecure. Whatever help we need is right there. Whatever help we need is right there. One of my coaches, and I got to call his name with great love right now. I've been working on this, Brother Nigel. Okay, we had our issues, but that's another place I had to grow. And he always says this. He says, people are always looking at a project and asking, how am I going to get it done? But the how question is a who question. Who's going to help me? Who's going to help you? Me. See, the universe goes ahead of us preparing that which we need even before we know we need it. Dr. Holmes says it conspires for our good. And so even before we know what's necessary, we are called to a destiny. We're called to an understanding, a duty, if you will, to the highest expression of ourselves, and everything necessary to get us there is already in place. And sometimes it looks like opposition. Sometimes it looks like a tormentor. Sometimes it looks like a low down, dirty, no good, backstabbing, belly crawling, worthless piece of whatever we want to say about it. But because we serve the universe, you see, I'm a citizen. I'm part of the citadel. I recognize my inheritance. It's coming to me as like advantage for being a part of the one. So I give back to the one because I know I'm an aspect of the one, and the one is constantly feeding me. And because I know reciprocity is the order of the land, I can't just be fed. I also have to give from the place, because a healthy river has an inflow and an outflow. And when the outflow stops, you get a swamp. You get murkiness. It's also a very, biodiversion. It's life, but it may not be that which we desire. Sometimes we still have life, but it's not particularly the life we want. And so when I want more, I give more. The hero's journey is about recognizing there's something compelling me, and everyone, each of us was born from a place of stillness and innocence. It's a hero's journey just being born. We go out and we have challenges in the world, but those challenges teach us, we'd say, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. It doesn't just make us stronger, it makes us more beautiful and resplendent in the one, because now we're deeper entrenched in the one. Because we've seen it work on small scale, we're willing to try it on a large scale. Because we've seen it on a small scale. And see, that means I've tried it on a small scale. This is not a theory, this is a lifestyle. This is a way of being in the world. It's not about going here and somebody flapping his gums on Sunday. I wonder if he he was good today. I was good last week. It's never about me. I'm not the person you came here to see. Say, no, you're right, Red. We didn't come to didn't have to be so loud in that silence right there, but I got it. You came to hear the truth. And the truth is expressed in all of us. Dr. Jeff gave us a piece of it. Pure Angelique's given a piece of it, because everybody has the truth indwelling within them. And when your number's called, you step up. And that's what the journey's about. When your number's called, you step up. But see, sometimes we have to exhaust ourselves in our own way of thinking. We have to, and they talk about, they really want me to talk about Alice in Wonderland here. But we're getting to the time, it's actually time right now. And what I'm talking about is I keep thinking about the prodigal son. Because the prodigal is a son. It's just a story tells of a rich man had two sons, an older son and a younger son. That's usually what happens when you have two. The old son represents status quo, blah, blah, blah. But the young son just said he wants to go out. He doesn't want to wait for his inheritance. He wants his inheritance now. I can't wait for the old man to die. He must be one of those, Melinda's cousin. I can't wait for them to die. I want my money now. He tells the old man, give me my inheritance right now. So let me just go. I'm not waiting around. I'm not trying to inherit the farm. I don't want none of this. Okay, give me my money. Okay. Gives him his money. He goes out on his own. The scripture says that he spent it all on riotous living. Okay, they like to make a big deal of how he squandered it all. Okay, well, it didn't have to be just riotous living. I mean, as a young man, I love that idea. I guess what I need some more riotous living. That works for me. Where can I sign up for that? Is there a school? Is there a merit badge? How do I get more riotous living? But it's about expending all of your creative spiritual energy in avenues that don't feed us, in ways that we're empowered to be in the one. That's what they're capturing in that metaphor. And so after he had squandered on the riotous living, and this is a story about a nice little Hebrew boy, you need to understand. So here's how he came to himself. It says, and he came to himself. People, they have a thing in the 12-step program when they say a moment of clarity. Ooh, I'm sorry. Sometimes it just jolts. I can't stand still. Okay, a moment of clarity. Some people in here know what I'm talking about. It's like life changes instantly. A moment of clarity. He came to himself. You know how? He was at the worst he could sing. He was eating with the hogs. In a hog pen, at a trough, eating with the hogs. He came to himself. And he said, even the servants in my father's house live better than this. Heck, I might not deserve to be a son and heir anymore. I might not be entitled to what I once believed I was entitled to. But I can go back to my father's house and be a servant. At least I've got that going for me. Of course, the story says when the father saw the young man coming from a long way off, he rejoiced and did all much wonderful stuff. But the point I'm making is that you never actually leave home, because home is always within us. Yes. So the hero's journey is not about going out somewhere and having to conquer some big bad wolf. I had a victory in my bed. I fought the baddest dude I knew, who chased me relentlessly, trying to kill me without ever getting out of bed. The hero's journey is an inward journey. It's a journey into our deepest understanding of ourselves. And when we come to ourselves, scripture says, when I was a man, when I was a child, I thought of a child, I spoke as a child, I played as a child, but when I became a man, I put away my childish things. A moment of clarity. And we go back to service, you see? Because the only reason I can say that everything in the universe is here to serve me is because I serve everything in the universe as the one. That's what the center is about. An opportunity to be of service. Because joining something bigger than yourself, you lose sight of yourself, but there's nothing bigger than yourself. And when you can have a self that isn't us, a self that is the oneness, a self that is the allness, a self that is the wholeness. That means you grow where you're planted, and everything you think, everything you say, everything you do has a purpose. Yes? And you're grounded in that. And there's no escape from it, and you're not fleeing. You're rushing towards it with full embrace. So the shameless commercial, we have lots of opportunities for service here. If you want to be a part of something bigger and lose yourself, because maybe you don't have some place right now. Maybe just going into the dream state and meditate, and you can't find all the demons. But I can tell you what happens when you start working with people. People have a way of triggering those parts of ourselves that we don't like, that we can't find, that we've buried underneath the porch. And we're standing on the porch looking out, acting like we've already done all the work we need to do. But there are people under the stairs that we're totally ignoring, those hidden beliefs, those ideas that don't serve us, but we are too evolved to acknowledge we have. I don't know where that came from. It just popped out. It might be something I need to look at. I'd love to say I said it for you. So with gratitude, I thank you for being here today and for opening me, opening us to a reality that we're all on the journey. And it's a beautiful journey. And no matter how scary or gnarly it gets, we keep serving it because we know it's already serving us. Are you with me here? Wherever you find yourself, with your family and your relationship, on the road, the best place I know to practice is driving. This is where you really get challenged in your oneness, because there's people out there who just don't seem to know who you are, you know, or they wouldn't be driving like that around you. Isn't that right? So thank you for being here. Think about it. Govern yourselves accordingly, as my dad says, and God bless us, everyone. Namaste. Oh, yes. And you too, Eileen. I'm sorry. I talked about people who brought the message. And Eileen brought the message because she just locked and she jumped right into the talk. She, oh, why are you calling me? You know why I called you. Okay. And that's why everybody's being called. We're constantly being called back into the one. Constantly. This is a time for our offering. It is a place to practice the reciprocity of money. Here's the thing about giving from a grateful place. It's the acknowledgement that I have enough to give. And not giving is the acknowledgement that I don't have enough to give. And one of these two narratives is going to be repeated throughout everything we think, everything we say, everything we do, every aspect that we are, because that's the way it works. Yes? This is not about shame or some kind of religious duty. It's about recognizing I'm serving the universe because it's serving me more. You can't outgive God. So those of you at home, or those of you who want to give online, give at sfcsl.org. That is give at sfcsl.org. GIVE at sfcsl.org. We go into our prosperity affirmation. Last week, I'm missing Oliver right now because Oliver was so good with the affirmation, wasn't he? Those of you here had Oliver up here. Little Oliver's about 7 years old, and he just I'm from a consciousness of a, oh God, it's sweet. If you don't feel that, there's something wrong with you. I'm sorry. I know that's judgmental, and I'll take the hit for it. Okay. So please repeat after me. From a consciousness of abundance.
From a consciousness of abundance.
And centered in gratitude.
And centered in gratitude.
I generously give. I accept the gifts of prosperity and abundance as I demonstrate divine circulation in my life. In gratitude, I freely give.
In gratitude, I freely give.
In joyful acceptance, I freely receive.
In joyful acceptance, I freely receive.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Thank you.
Since love is why I'm here, I am an open channel. Since love is why I'm I give and I receive. Since love is why I'm here, I am an open channel. Since love is why I'm here, I give and I receive. Here we go. Give and receive. Ask. Ask and receive. One more time. Give and receive. Ask and receive.
Dr. John. Thank you. Membership, visitors, friends, live streamers, thank each and every one. God bless us, everyone. Knowing once again, one life, one mind, one power, one presence, one eternal giving nature, we graciously accept this offering. Knowing that we are one with the infinite source and substance of all beingness, and that this is a mere expression of the good that flows in and through and as each and every one of us. Gratefully, we release it, knowing that it's already in circulation, and all we think and all we say and all we do when we are at peace and at rest, and all is well. And so it is.
So it is. Now we have our treatment, spiritual mind treatment, Pure Anjali.
Dear Anjali. Thank you, Dr. John.
Thank you, John. Thank you, Reverend Muata. So we move into our time of affirmative prayer, into our time of spiritual mind treatment. And in this place, we stand in the absolute awareness that there is only one life. That means that I am speaking in first person, and there is only now, so I am speaking in present tense. And so as you hear the words I or me, please know that that I is the I am that encompasses all of life kind. And so right now in this moment, if you feel so moved to do, please hold in the consciousness of the one mind in the space of your heart, any one or any circumstance that you are melding into this prayer, into the oneness, as Ricky Byer sings, fading it into God. If you feel moved to do so, you can call out the name of anyone or anything that is calling for prayer. But please know that the spirit of all life does not need to hear the name. It already knows. But if you feel moved to do so, I call out the name of Franz Cesarone, of Art Cooper, of Betty Burr, of Linda Bruno. I call out the name of William Tuss, Cindy Rogers,
Muata Rasuli for Plus Clan. San Francisco Center for Spiritual Living.
So in the stillness of the breath, drawing in life and exhaling love, I speak my word knowing that there is only one life being lived everywhere. It is the life of infinite creation. It is the life of all existence, God loving itself into existence as each and every being, breathing its singular breath as the breath of all life, and beating its heart in the rhythm and the synchronicity, the dance of life itself. This is my life. This is my life, for I am one. I am one. I am one. And in this awareness, I lift the illusionary veil of separation. I draw back the curtain of unreality and step into the bright light of indwelling knowingness. That all of existence, all of life, all that ever has been, all that is coming into being, all that is here and now is a manifestation of the singular cause I call God. And so everywhere in my life, that which I see and that which I see beyond seeing, I claim and accept as one with all that I am. Inseparable oneness of being. And so I stand resolute in a place of peace and harmony, declaring and knowing that all relationships are spirit to spirit and that love abounds, whether I know it or not, because there is a place of knowing that goes beyond the human experience. It is the stillness at the depths of the ocean, despite anything taking place on its surface. And in this place, I claim and I accept that I draw from a wellspring of infinite good, sourced by God, prosperous beyond belief, abundant, affluent, the flow of the divine and the grace of God moving through every aspect of my life. And this grace, this flow, this divine energy is a healing force, powerful, creative. That this power, this creation, this healing force ignites every atom, every tissue, every fiber and function of my being. My body temple is alive in the perfection of health, outpicturing in joy, in love, in energy. And so grateful am I for this truth. So grateful am I for the presence of God indwelling me and outpicturing in every aspect of my life, that I simply give thanks. And in this gratitude, I surrender, I release, I let go, and I allow the law of the universe, the laws of perfect manifestation, to act upon this word and bring it into existence as it has been spoken in one resounding voice of deep knowing. I declare, and so it is.
And so it
Amen.
is.
And Ashe. Mike.
I'm not afraid to use it.
Because there are two things that I did want to say. One, when you were talking about getting older, and there's been a lot of talk among ourselves in the 40-day prosperity and the power of your word about time and time boundedness. And it occurred to me what a privilege it is to age. There are many people in many places in the world for many different reasons who are not privileged to grow old. And so it just completely reorients it. I'm like, hell yeah, I'm growing old. Yay. What a privilege that is. And the second one I want to say, because it isn't about defending my mother. I mentioned that she had dementia because it was a 5-year journey.
Yes.
Of watching her and being present with her in dementia. She wasn't angry with me.
No.
She was just upset. And we don't have to have dementia to just be moving through the world upset. We don't even sometimes know why. But just as my mother did, sometimes what we do when we're questioned, well, why are you so upset? We find a reason, right? And I do this on purpose because more often than not, that reason is outside of ourselves. We believe it is to be so. So when we asked, Mom, what are you upset about? She said, you're just acting up, right? We don't have to have dementia to do that. That journey for her, with her for 5 years, was an immensely beautiful and challenging spiritual journey. And the way that I answered my mother, which is the important part of this story for me, this is what I said to her. I'm sorry, Mom. I'll stop acting up. Because in that moment, I realized two things. I don't have to confront unreality and try to change it, because that unreality
tell it.
is me.
Tell it.
Right? Seeing things through a cloud, and it can be dementia. It can just be the swirl that's always going around in my head. And by saying, I'm sorry, I'll quit acting up, it's like plant myself in truth. I, like Eileen said, am completely responsible for my life. I'm completely responsible for this experience. I don't have to battle my mother. Okay, you're right. There's so many ways I need to quit acting up. And the biggest way I need to quit acting up is stepping into the illusion that I have no power, right? I still had a relationship with my mother for 5 beautiful years. And my sister used to say to me, I don't know how you can be with Mom that long. How can you stand it? And this is what I said to her, because I'm not trying to make her something else. I just get to be present. And that is why I was reacting, not because I was defending my mom, but because it's like, that's not the story. So anyway, that was your story. This is my story. Thank you for listening to me. Announcements. Gratitude, first and foremost. Thank you so much, John Steiner and Meredith Spears, for the beautiful music today. I love that choir director moment. That was awesome, because you can feel that, right, when we are all engaged in the singing. Michelle Stivers. In that kitchen, deserved of those applause and so much more. She's gracing us with the blessing of her providing for our fellowship today. That is a beautiful thing. I come from New Orleans, and my mother always used to say, make it a habit of falling in love with people who feed you. So like I needed another reason to love Michelle. The Brunos are here. We're blessed by you. If you have stepped into our garden at any time, when you arrive and you see the beautiful flowers outside, it is the Brunos and the blessing of their generosity of service and spirit that gives to us in that way. And Tim, providing Tim, and the work he just did, and Michelle, and the work they just did. You can kind of see the little trail of, of the work that they did in the office that was much in need. And just everybody. Patrick is not with us today. He is experiencing the joy of his sister's visit. Eric is not with us today, but he's been working on the mural. And on the 20th of November, if you are really wanting to engage in some creativity, there will be a community painting of the mural. You can just put like one little line right there if you want, whatever you want to do. Please join on the 20th for that. Eric is actually in Milan right now. And so shout out to you, Eric, in Milan. He sent me a video of the sunset there. It is his birthday today. And so what a gift being in Milan, for sure. Are there any other announcements?
Yeah, well, just thanks to Daniel for doing the offering again.
Yes, thank you so much, Daniel. And for the 40-day prosperity group, if you are interested, it is open still. It is for the intrepid souls who want to engage in prosperity awareness at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Zoom together at every Monday, 6 a.m. If you are interested, it is, come on guys, you guys know this one. That is 990-5000-8774. Absolutely. So please join us if you are interested in anchoring it. In the group.
So if you're curious, ask one of us. If you don't remember the number, we'll let you know.
It's Sacred Monday. We have a 6 a.m. Zoom for prosperity, and then a 6 p.m. class on the power of your word. Several people are doing both. So Sacred Monday.
Just Monday or every day?
Every day is sacred, but it's only on Mondays that we're
Every day
doing
sacred,
this.
like-
We do the
It's a
40-day
good
prosperity.
distinction. We do the 40-day prosperity every day, but we come together on the Zoom on Mondays. So Dr. Jeff.
One way you give and receive easily is have two more. I did a fundraiser a month ago. I have a place in my clinic that is a healing room, and it doesn't require any kind of therapy. It's just a light sound healing space. And if you donate $85, all of it goes to the center. But you get to receive one of the most amazing light sound. Now we have acoustic vibration there too. So there's a, Anadi, when he was here, he actually upgraded my system. Where now I have tactile acoustic thing through your hands and a mat on. So you get this incredible frequency healing. It's a great gift for Christmas coming up or whatever. There's 3 spots left that can be donated back to the center. So if you're interested, talk to me.
It is amazing. I've experienced it. Reverend Muata's experienced it several times. It's an immersive experience of healing. It is such a gift to give yourself vibration, light energy, and sound, fully immersive. It's beautiful. The Sensora experience, it's beautiful.
One more gratitude to Gabriella Schultz, who was involved with Tim with the last project.
Okay, thank you for that. I didn't know that. So to Gabriella as well. Thank you. And Crystal.
I sent out an email. I sent out text that so December 3rd, we're having a women's retreat at June House, followed by a nun party where we're going to dress up as nuns because it's her birthday and she wants that. Everybody is invited. I sent out one email, let me know, and I can, send you details. So basically, we have like little spots of things that we're doing. So if you want to sign up so we can apply of what we're doing, please do it. I hope that makes sense. Yeah.
You said everybody's invited.
Sorry, women and people who identify as women. Oh my.
I'm intending on going. I'm not sure about the nun thing since I'm recovering from pre-K through 12 parochial school education. I'm not sure. No.
What if you're a male with a very strong, perhaps dominant feminine side?
No.
Just saying.
So thank you. And if inadvertently anybody was left out of that expression of gratitude, please know it is not. It has absolutely nothing to do with a lack of thanksgiving for who you are and how you contribute. And the truth is that it's everybody present that give of their energy and their love to our center. So thank you, everyone. John Steiner, Meredith Spears.
This is one of my favorite songs. And since Reverend Muata spoke of things that sometimes appear to be impossible, this is the song. So you can think of this whenever things seem to be impossible. Oh, that's not gonna happen. I'm not doing that. I'm like that person. Why should I say hi to that person? You all know what I'm talking about. So we're all in this.
Why should I? It's a telltale sign.
So this song brings everything in, and it brings us into knowing what we have the capacity and the ability to create through imagining. You may say that I'm a dreamer, But I know I'm not the only one. I know someday you will join us, join me, and the world will be as one. Imagine this, there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. And no hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today, just for today. Imagine there are no countries. It isn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for, and no religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I know I'm not the only one. I know someday you will join us, and the world will be as one. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. No need for greed or hunger. One brotherhood of man, imagine. Imagine all the people, everyone, sharing all the world. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I know I'm not the only one. I know someday you will join us, and this world, this whole world will be able to live will be able to live as one. Just imagine.
I will do it. I'm not actually on though. Now I am. Okay, Reverend Muata has asked me to make an announcement out of respect for our community. Some people in the larger community have communicated with him that they're experiencing some health challenges and whatnot. So if we could refrain from holding hands during the peace song and to simply extend our hands out and to know that we are embracing one another, because there isn't any separation in spirit. So the lack of physically joining hands, we're moving past the illusion of separation by the physical reality. So, so we will just stand in a circle, but not hold hands. And then also a reminder, we used to announce that if you are open to a hug, that as you approach someone else, both of you have your arms extended out. That means both people are open to being hugged in the moment. And that if not, if one or both of you are greeting one another with a namaste or in a prayer stance, that means that this is how we're greeting one another. And again, we absolutely know there's no less energy of love being exchanged in a namaste with one another than there is in a hug. So thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay,
Okay.
we good.
So thank you, each and every one. Such a joy to be in service. And I'm knowing that we as a consciousness and as a community are growing and prospering, and so many of us are actively involved with associating our wealth. Okay, prosperity is such a nebulous term that could mean so many things, but wealth is something that we understand that has to do with our money and the way we show up in the world. And we are working wealth into the everyday conversation of consciousness, recognizing the source and the substance of all of our good and all of our being is oneness, is the unity, is that us that we so wonderfully spoke of here today. If that is something that interests you, then that number once again at 6 a.m. on Monday is 990-5000-8774. We're using the 40-Day Abundance Prosperity Book, which is readily available in many, many places. Little green book. Pranjali's holding it up, but you go online by John Randolph Price. We recognize that addressing this central issue of our consciousness is something that we have not done. It's something that is necessary that we do now in order to, as there's this expression I love, it's a Rasuliism. You have to stop being who you was in order to be who you are. And so right now we're embracing the idea and the newness. You know what? It's all God. It's all good. The wealth is all mine because there's only oneness. We leave here today steeped in the oneness and the affirmation that I am the hero on my journey, that the wealth of the universe is resplendent in, through, and as me. It cannot be otherwise because there is abundance in every aspect of how life shows up. And that abundance is me. So with that, we leave here together, flowing effervescently with the abundance and the wealth of the divine. And all we think and all we say and all we do, everything we touch and associate ourselves with is blessed and it prospers. It's the nature of who and what we are. And this truth allows us to know unequivocally that the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects and watches over us, while the wisdom of God supplies and supports and sustains us, and the wisdom of God guides and directs us. Wherever we are, wherever we go, whatever we think, whatever we do, whatever we say, God is, and all is well. And so
it is. Let's gather in a circle for the peace song. Go.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begins with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as our center, united all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. everyone. God bless us. Each and every thank you. Thank you, live streamers. Thank you for the joy. You touched the joy in me. You touched the joy and the
Inside of me. You touch the joy inside of me.
You touch the joy inside